What's up, everyone? Hello, welcome to the live stream. I'm here today with my buddy over here, Frostbyte. Hey, Frosty, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, I'm okay. Been kind of a little bit on the tired side, but been trying to get some content out. You know how that goes.
Absolutely. It's been a busy week.
It is. Definitely is. So basically, I just wanted to touch base on that because you've been really tired. I saw your post where you didn't do a whole lot because you needed to rest.
Yeah, something like 13 live streams in 2 days was a lot. So yeah,
That's
it was
an
crazy.
understatement.
It was crazy.
That's definitely an understatement. So, welcome everyone. So far, I'm only seeing a couple people so far. I see Neil and Larry Singh, and hopefully, we'll see some other people here in a little bit. But today is going to be a continuation of what we did on the 1st of January, New Year's Day, where we talked about you all having a spreadsheet so you know what you got and how to go about. Well, basically, it's kind of like knowing where you've been, knowing where you're at, and that way you can figure out where you're going. So, you know, I made my spreadsheet early on, back when I had one Ziploc baggie, and I did it all by hand until I was taught the wonders of Microsoft Excel. And since then, I've been adding more and more calculations so that it can do it all for me. So, welcome, Michael and Nancy and Jenna Nesbitt. So, basically, that's how I started. And then later on, after Frostbite and I got to be friends, he found out about my spreadsheet, and we talked about how this would be really good to help all of you. Now, his spreadsheet we talked about on the 1st of January, and he did a lot more intricate work than what I did. And what do you expect? He's a numismatist. He knows all about these errors and doublings and VAMs and all this other stuff that I don't pay as much attention to. Mine's mainly about what do I got, how much does it weigh, and I compare what I have spent versus what the spot price market is saying that I've got when you throw it all together. And that's what I try to teach my wife because she was not going to pay attention to the numismatist stuff. I don't as much. And I wanted her to have something that could be liquid. For instance, this right here, it has a high premium. I got it because I love our country and I just couldn't say no to it. However, there is a little numismatic value to this being the first year for American Silver Eagle.
Indeed.
But there would not be so much of a numismatic value to a basic round or basic coin Austrian Philharmonic. So I just stuck with weight, estimated spot price, and calculations. So those of us who don't follow so much numismatic stuff, it's not a bad way to go. In fact, that's one of the first things we ever did as friends. We went over peace dollars.
Remember that very well.
And you got ones that had more numismatic value. And numismatic value peace dollars scared me because I was afraid that if something ever happened to me, the wife wouldn't know what she had and wouldn't get as much as what she could get. So I went for weight. You went for numismatic value, and everybody won. And I filled up the tubes in the box full of piece sellers that really don't have a whole lot of extra value to them. They're just basically there for weight, which
Yeah, you basically got a 2-for-1. I got 7 pieces, you got 14.
pretty much,
Price wise, we ended up with the same amount of money. You increased your weight, but I got a couple pieces that I needed for my book. And so um, in the wash, price wise, we come out at a wash.
yes.
Now, long term, you come out on top because silver has gone through the roof and the silver values eclipse the numismatic value on that.
You have
So
a
when you're working with that, it's important to look at weight as well.
you have a valid point on that. I hope that doesn't mean you regretted our swap.
Not at all.
Okay, good.
This is one of those things that you need to consider when you're doing this. Now, there are there are pros and cons to doing this on both ends. Silver price can plummet, known to happen. Numismatic value will kind of hold its own, even if the silver price drops. You'll have your premiums and things like that that will stay there. So, from that regard, the numismatic value will hold better than your rounds, but you don't have to track it like I do. The reason that I track mine like I do, and I don't track varieties and errors. I know Tiger talked about that, and I know a little bit about those, but I track the coin. I track the year, the mint mark, because that way, if I ever go to a show, I know exactly what to look for. Or if my wife or my sons or somebody needed to do something, I could say, go look at the sheet. You can choose anything that I have multiples of. They can go very quickly, find out what I have multiples of, and then make an assessment based off of what's on the sheet. And if I was ever to have my untimely demise, which is we're going to talk about that here in a moment, then she could take my sheet to a coin dealer and they would know exactly verbatim what's in my stack. And so down to the very individual coin. Now you don't have to go that deep, but if you're going to be a stacker, you're going to be a truist. It's important that you understand what you have in your stack. And so there's a couple of different ways to do this. We're going to talk about Tiger's effort and why he does it the way he does it today. Because like I said, we already talked about this on the first on the sheet that I use.
Okay, then. So basically, like I said, mine was basically more designed around weight and estimations that based uh, off of spot price. And what I'd noticed early on was when I first I bought from a company called American Hartford Gold. Don't ever buy from them; they'll rob you blind. And about a month later, I found a company called Money Metals Exchange, saw their prices, realized how much I was taking advantage of. And I knew that if I called and complained that I'd get nowhere fast, I just chalked it up to the price of education. But at that point, I was about maybe keeping 70% of what I had purchased. And for a long time, it stayed in the 70s, maybe 80s, fluctuated up and down. And it was just the way it was. Now, with the spot price climbing as it has been, I'm sitting about an additional 94% above when you dollar cost average everything all together in that spreadsheet. And
So you said something. Let's talk about that. What do you mean by dollar cost average? Let's explain that.
okay, dollar cost average. You could try your best to buy the dips. And it's really hard because you might not be available to buy the dip. You might be working, you might be on vacation, you might be waiting for your next payday. So buying the dip is really the best option, but it's very, very hard to do. Dollar cost averaging is you buy it basically at the same time, irregardless about what the spot price is. So sometimes you get it high, sometimes you get it low, sometimes you get it in the middle. And when you put them all together at the end, It's what we call dollar cost averaging. Have I explained that pretty okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I never worried about trying to buy the dip. If it happened, it was great. If it didn't happen, I didn't care because I followed a basic mentality that I'd learned from a YouTuber who's just recently come back to doing content again, Silver Joker. He always talked about this doesn't matter until you sell it and put it back on the market. What you really have to measure is your ounces. How many ounces of silver, how many ounces of gold, or if you're doing platinum or palladium or whatever. So I really worried more about building the ounces. And like I said, sometimes I bought cheap, sometimes I didn't buy cheap. Sometimes it just went ahead and just got it because it was payday. And I didn't want to, I knew that if I let that pay just sit in the bank account, I'd probably buy something stupid. Might as well buy something that retains its value. So as I said, I started off in the 70s originally, and it bounced around for a long time. And then over time, I bounced around in the 80s. Well, then I bounced around in the 90s. Well, as the spot price has been going up, the amount that I have spent in the denominator versus the amount of money that I have in the numerator by spot price went from being losing to gaining. And the last time I checked, I was in the 90s in the gaining. So if you're going to think in terms of fiat, which you should not, because fiat money is losing value, losing purchasing power. But if you have to think in that term, I've actually gained because it's worth more fiat dollars because the spot prices have been going up. I hope that I've explained that pretty well to everyone. So if
Yeah. One thing I want to address, there's something that was Concur Illington or Concurring Lion. Tiger and I have said this in the past. That is very, very normal for this hobby. People spend their money on other things. People look at trying to identify what they were spending money on. They can't find it. They're not good at saving money. And so they get into metals because they're like, if I'm going to buy something, I need something that's going to hold its value. There's a lot of reasons for getting into stacking and collecting, a lot of them. But just getting into it doesn't mean you're in a good spot. You need to actually make sure that you're tracking what you're doing, that you know about the element that you're buying. If it's numismatic, know the coin. If it's gold and silver and platinum and palladium, then you want to make sure you're really understanding those metals. Know how to test it, set up a good network, know your ins and outs. So just buying it, a lot of times what'll happen is what Tiger said at the very beginning, which is you'll way overspend. And that's common, right? So it's these lessons, it's these sheets that help you go back and go, wow, I spent a lot of money. And only now with spot price being 76, do I finally get to see some of my gains. Don't be that person. Don't be like me. Don't be like Tiger, right? Learn that lesson
definitely,
early.
I had no teaching. No one taught me this. I learned this all the hard way. But I learned it, I did. And that's one of the reasons why I do my channel, so that I can leave information for people who are starting. I want information for everyone in the community, but especially the newbies. I really don't want them to make the mistakes that I did. So that's the reason I put a lot of the different types of content out, is so that people can learn, maybe learn from my mistakes, or maybe learn from someone else's. It's really good to learn from someone else's mistakes. That way it doesn't affect you so negatively. So, what do you think?
Well, let's talk about why you actually started doing um, your spreadsheet. Again, I started doing mine because I was tired of going to coin shows or coin shops and coming home and then finding out that, oh crap, I already have this one. I just spent $200 and now I got a duplicate. Spent all day looking for the coin and it's the wrong one or it's the wrong grade or it's a duplicate. But you started for a totally different reason. Why don't we talk about why that is?
Well, um, I realized I didn't know anything. And as a physician, you're taught document, document, document. You kind of get used to being a documentaholic. And I started realizing as I was going through my first Ziploc baggie that I'd forgotten what was in there. It was okay because I figured if I got duplicates, that's what stacking was about. But I didn't remember what I had. So I had to develop a system. So I developed a system not only of a spreadsheet, but I just devised a system of, putting them into different tubes. Um, I found out that you can have different tubes. You could have these cardboard things where you can put labels on them. Found out that you can put. I don't have one here. Let me do this one. You could put label stickers of prices and dates and who you bought it from. So it all started becoming more and more intricate as I went through it, and I went through my initial stuff, tried to recreate as much as I could before it got so out of hand. And then I started realizing if I had this on paper, I wouldn't have to go look at the metals. I wouldn't have to go through a baggie or two baggies or three baggies. It would be there waiting for me. All I had to do was look at the right part of it. So that's how that ended up starting that way. And I used to spend hours almost every single night going through it. Sometimes if I didn't buy anything, I did it so I could see what the spot price would do. Was I getting more? Was I getting less? Was I losing money? Was I holding my own? So it all started based upon that. And early on, I realized that, like our friend here who just mentioned that he had a uh, 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 it was, I started realizing I needed to teach my wife, who really wasn't into this. Early on, she would get mad at me, tell me I was wasting money. Why am I spending money on this? It's a waste of money. It wasn't until two, maybe three times, because I used to get monthly meetings with Yankee Stacking as one of his top tier members. He helped me get her to realize I wasn't wasting money. I was preserving money. I was changing it from the fiat dollar, which was losing purchasing power, to something that was maintaining its purchasing power. When she got that concept, she was totally cool. In fact, one time I remember one time she looked at me. You know how ladies do, Frosty. They'll test you every so often. This one day she tested me and says, "How do I know you love me?" Like, really? She said, "Yeah." So okay, where's our wealth? And she told me exactly where it was. All the hiding spots. Hey, Ginger. Oh, thank you, Frosty, for the gift of 5 memberships. Obtained by Supreme Ginger Stacker, William 8202, K 1987. all things silver, and your favorite rocker, MLZB. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. So basically, I looked at her and said, "Where's all the money?" And she told me. I said, "Most guys show their love by doing. I worked 2, 3, 4 different employers at one time. So I could be as good of a provider as possible. And you can find out where a man's love goes, because where his love goes, the money soon follows. So that basically, went ahead and did it that way. And she looked at me and said, "Oh, okay, I get it now." Now she's totally okay with it, especially since I've had to deal with the sepsis more than a year ago, and now with the preparing for surgery and cancer and chemotherapy. I'm able to do something I wasn't able to do 5 years ago, dude. 5 years ago, if I would have been hit with this, I'd have been really struggling to pay the bills. Well, I'm stressed out and trying to, get the chemotherapy done and all that. And although I'm not a big fan of having to sell, when your back's to the wall and you have the resources, it is one moment sad, but on the other moment, very reassuring that you don't have to stress. So that's how. What?
Do you see Matt's comment? Tiger, can you talk my wife into being interested in metals?
That
Nice.
won't be a bad thing, Matt Wings. Yankee did it for me. In fact, that might not be a bad option to offer to the members. So if the members want to, they can, come on board and we can talk about it, and their wives can be in there. We had a meeting with the members, and we're talking about doing something different than what I did last week, and different what I'm going to do this week, which was set up a live stream for members only. But we're looking at a Google Meet type of meeting. That way people can talk and they don't have to worry about coming up on stage. So, of course, I would be happy to.
See, I think it's a terrible idea because now you're inciting how much money we spend on this stuff.
I don't understand where you're going.
Come on, how many people tell their wives how much money they spend on this stuff?
That's up to them. I'm going to just talk in the general, like it was talked to my wife, that this is not spending. This is converting.
And that's a key. When you talk to somebody, it's the question I ask my wife, and my wife is not interested in this. She looks at it, she checks it out, but she's like, and she makes a valid argument. It's not doing anything while it's sitting in storage. When it's offsite, it's not doing anything for us. It's not doing anything. It's like, actually, that's wrong. Let me explain to you why. Let me show you why.
Mm-hmm.
And having the spreadsheet, I was able to go back through and pull up a couple things and have her go, okay, so this is how much I spent on some of these things. And again, you spent how much? Not knowing how much gold was and not really equating that, and showing her a gold coin and being like, how much is this? And I show her, something like this.
Okay.
Okay. How much is this going for right now?
Is that a tenth?
Tenth.
Yeah, it's probably in the 500 range.
I got it for 225. And the money no longer became an issue. It was done because she now understood, oh, you bought this a little over a year and a half ago. Now, granted, remind people that, hey, it's not going to go up like this all the time. It's going to go up, it's going to go down. But the intent is to make sure people understand that when I pass, all this stuff is going to be a way for you to continue things. It's going to be a way for you to take care of the needs that come up, to hold on to it and provide it to the kids, to cover yourself in a situation. Tiger, we talk about SHTF and the personal. What's up, Mad? How you doing, brother?
Hey,
We
Matt.
talk about the situation you had with sepsis, and then again battling cancer right now. If it wouldn't have been for the stacking of the metals, and she knows your situation, it's like if it wouldn't have been for him stacking this, then where would Tiger be? But right now he's not doing wonderful, but he's getting by. Something that, what do they say? People are only 2 paychecks away from losing everything, 2 paychecks away from bankruptcy. And so having a way to offset that. Now, if you're not good at saving, and I mean generally saving, this is a good way to do that. But
It
you
is.
have to be smart about it. Okay. You can't go spend $100 for an ounce and think that you're doing good things. You have to be smart about it. Sometimes that calls for discipline. Sometimes that means you don't go certain places. Sometimes that means you don't buy it from a certain store. Sometimes that means you have to move to a different location or find something else, or maybe you have to look at different sites, or maybe you have to, oh, I don't know, shop, right? So if you're really looking, and again, it's different with collectibles, not much, but a little bit, than it is when you're talking about pure weight. If you are doing pure weight, you absolutely need to make sure that you focus on getting things at the lowest possible price. So develop a strategy, verify that strategy with somebody who's done this for a while, and then implement it. Implementing it alone isn't enough. You have to evaluate it periodically. You have to go back, and Tiger, you and I have done this. We've talked about it. Where are we at? Hey, you know what? I'm going to stop doing this. I can't do that. I'm not buying this type of thing anymore. I'm not investing in this. It's too much money. There's too upside down. You have to evaluate your stance on this from time to time.
True.
It's the only way you'll stay relevant. Once you get there, once you start to get through that and you start really tracking these things, then you begin to see patterns of good, patterns of bad, and then reevaluate that and stop and go, hey, here we are. This is where we're at. And so, I see Frank McCain saying that, your grandfather left you a bunch of stuff. My grandfather got me into the hobby. He didn't leave me tons of stuff. But what he taught me is he taught me a love for history. This is why I'm a numismatist. This is why I like storytelling. Um, this is, it's a it's a passion. But if you're a stacker, it's about the weight. So really understand what you're doing. Evaluate it often, and you'll do okay. But you have to revisit it. You can't just leave it and expect everything to be honky dory. You
Um,
have to evaluate where you're at periodically.
and that's where the spreadsheet comes in, because let me explain it to you. This stuff is pretty. Okay. You open up your box or your Ziploc baggie or whatever you've got, and you're looking at what you got. You get wrapped up in the pretty. And sometimes you can't focus because all you see is pretty. The spreadsheet, there's no pretty to it. It's just paper or a screen. And then you have data. And now you're looking at data instead of looking at pretty. So, that's personally why I think Scrooge McDuck takes and swims through the stuff, because it's pretty. You never see him sitting in front of a spreadsheet. So, he is a wealthy duck. However, the key is to stay focused. Know where you've been, know where you are, and you can figure out where you're going. You make your mistakes from the past, you learn from them in the present, don't repeat them in the future. And that's where the advantage of the spreadsheet comes in.
Fact.
Plus, it will allow your loved ones that you've left it to have a clue what's going on. That's why I do the spreadsheet, the death letter, and the will. Those three things combined is going to teach your loved one or loved ones basically what you got and what it pretty much means. Let's see what Mad says. Just started trimming the fat around my stack. So much stupid stuff for a stacker. My pride was so attached to never getting rid of a single gram. Over the last 5 years, I ended up all over
The place with no strategy. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that. I did that.
We've all been there and done that, right? And this is something that even with coin collecting, I mentioned when I was doing that, I have a bunch of coins that I have put into a tote and set aside because why did I collect this? Well, because I was in auctions and I got caught up into the game and I got caught up into the excitement of it all and bought a bunch of stuff that I don't need. And it's not that I don't need it, I just don't ever look at it. See, I enjoy looking at my collection. I enjoy going back periodically and identifying stuff. But if you're a stacker, you don't want a lot of fluff. Having a lot of fluff cuts into your bottom line.
It
You
does.
want to make sure that you're tracking that stuff very carefully. And again, what is your goal, right? Stick to your goal. Now, I said this last time, Tiger and I have spreadsheets, but you want to talk about somebody who has a spreadsheet, it's Mad Stacker. Mad Stacker, this guy, he can tell you when something was purchased, why it was purchased, what it was done, if he ran a race or who won it, what episode it was in. I mean, this dude it's a full on business for him. He tracks it, he monitors it, he gauges it, he knows what's going on, where it's at. He knows where it's at all in his time. And despite all of that, he still makes decisions. And so this is why it takes a reevaluation. The word evaluation is not a one-time thing. You perform your steps. Think of it like a wheel. Okay. Have you ever been riding a bike when you were a kid and you put the little card in there? Tut, 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 tut.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's one revolution of the wheel, right?
True.
Every time that revolution of the wheel kicks off, it makes that sound. Tut. That tut is when you evaluate. So every time that wheel makes a circle, whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. Every time that wheel makes a circle, you should be evaluating that. That should be part of your normal process. And if you're doing that, you're really going to set yourself up for success. And that's ultimately what matters.
Very
So
true.
Mad's doing exactly the right thing.
Well, he probably makes my spreadsheet look like it's child's play. But
He's very thorough, 100% thorough. He knows exactly what's done, what was bought, what was sold. And again, we're not going to go into the details of yours, and we've talked about why.
yeah,
But because we don't need to display for the world to see you everything we all have. I mean, I even created a mock-up of mine just so people could see it. No, I promise you, I never put a Mickey Mantle card in my bike. I can promise you that. Um,
Now,
it
those
was
things
always like
are
Glenn
pretty
Hubbard or somebody like that. And by the way, I liked Glenn Hubbard, if you know who he is. But the whole point of that, the whole purpose of this is without some method by which to track it, you don't necessarily know what you have. And oh, the real Mike has one. Ah, nice. Lucky you. But you don't really know what you have. So it's extremely important you track this. You perform your steps, evaluate. Perform your steps, evaluate. And that's the path to success. That's how you get to where you want to go.
exactly. And me not being as high tech as Frosty, when I add to my stack, I add the ounces, basically what it is, not to the level he does, and I add in the dollars that I spent. When I sell out of my stack, I actually have two spreadsheets. I subtract out the ounces from what column they're in. I subtract out the dollar value because I've already got it documented. And then I go to a second spreadsheet that I call my capital gains and loss, and I add that in there. Yeah, that's a lot of extra hard work because I don't have the high tech experience that Frostbyte does. But the capital gains and losses spreadsheet gets shipped off to my accountant so that he knows, I got rid of these things. It will have the date I bought it, who I bought it from, how much I spent on it, how much I got when it left my possession. And, he's able to run the tax calculations. So, that is, yeah, like I said, not very high tech. I'm learning. It tends to make this one a little bit crazy. But heck, I'd probably be a little bit crazy if I had to explain everything to me too. So
Well, and again, we pick on each other and we joke with each other. But it just goes to show there's not one way to do it. There's multiple ways to do it. What you have to do is you have to assess what your goal is and then implement your plan, right?
true.
And you know, I, Matt and I have talked about this. Unfortunately, I lost a huge portion of my stack in a boating accident as well a number of years ago, and it's definitely an unfortunate thing, but it is important to track. Now, there was something that I haven't seen it in chat. Normally, when we talk about spreadsheets and we talk about things like that, the inevitable thing is always comes up. I don't necessarily want everybody knowing what I have. And I get that. A lot of people say they want to track it for insurance purposes. Okay. There's a lot more to just having a spreadsheet to cover insurance. If you're going to be utilizing it for insurance, then you're going to have estimates. You're going to have some receipts, some sort of proof, links to websites, something to validate the amount of money that is worth and the amount of money the replacement of that piece is going to cost. Um, that can be problematic. I'm going to give you a great example of this. Tiger, you and I did a story about a certain cyanide based bar. You remember that?
Yeah, the blood bar.
The blood bar. How in the world do you explain to an insurance company that that is a six, seven, eight, 900 or $900 bar at 9.5 ounces? How do you describe that? How do you explain that? So you have to be careful and provide really good proof if you're doing it for insurance purposes. But there's always issues with that, and you do have to be careful. So you have to pay capital gains when you sell. Depends on how much and where you live, right?
Sure.
But yeah, so there's a lot to consider. Just like again, just having the spreadsheet by itself doesn't meet all of your needs, and you just need to make sure that you are tracking that. Kin of mine, you're absolutely right. I had all of that stuff on there, two massive safes, absolutely full of it, and it's all gone. That thing's in the bottom of I don't remember what lake I was in at the time. There you go. BR McKay and Sons. We did a really cool two-part video on that. If you haven't seen our video on the blood bar, we break down the scientific. We talk about the detail and the story. If you want a good story, that's a great one right there. The blood bar.
Half of the story is on Frostbite's channel and half of it's on mine.
The real Mike Petty. Do you need special metals, insurance, collectibles? So there's a couple different ways to do it. There's an umbrella in policy. And if you talk to your insurance company, I utilize USAA because of my military background. The yeah, I think it was Crater Lake, kin of mine. Yeah, somewhere in in that mile deep cavern, right? Um, but you have to talk to your insurance company. Your insurance company will tell you exactly what's covered. They'll tell you what forms are required. Um, um, yeah, Mad, we're on both channels. We did this on the first. We did this on both. We wrap up on both, and then we'll go back to the Stack-A-Lector being on each episode. We just wanted to make sure we do this for the what's it called, the playlist purposes.
Understood. No, but basically, you have to say, have the receipts. Believe it or not, I've collected my receipts. I have boxes and boxes of receipts at a special hidden location. And they add those sheets add up because you know, for instance, if you buy from Chavella, it's just a thermal piece of paper, and I copy it because thermal will fade over time. But if I'm buying from an online bullion dealer, I I print those off and I put them in a special storage area until such time as they get to the house. Then they go into another storage area, and then that storage area, when it's full, goes into another storage area and stays there forever and ever. Amen. When I get something on an auction, same thing. When I got something on a race, Matt can attest to the fact that whenever I got something, Mad Stacker, member for 16 months. Thank you. LFG. What is it?
Let's freaking go.
Okay. So Matt can tell you, I sent off an email saying, thanks for the race. I won blah, blah, blah. I wait for it to come in. I have a basic idea what I spent when I did races. So when it comes in, I write it all in. It goes on to I handwrite it in because, I could be potentially wrong, but I try not to be. But it goes into that document that goes into the spreadsheets, the original receipt from the email when I send it off. So it was to Mad Stacker. That goes into a manila envelope. When that manila envelope is full, it goes into a box. When that box goes full, it goes off to the hidden area. Mad Stacker, I track where it goes. That was
He tracks everything, quite literally. Every dollar spent, every dollar brought in, where it happened, what the transaction was. Now, he said something earlier about tracking his receipts. That if there are so many great apps that allow you to scan on your phone and boom, it goes straight into a database. There's a ton of great stuff. Make sure that you have an app that's secure. That's going to be extremely important. There's a lot out there that, it's like, hey, we just developed this thing. You don't know who owns it. You don't know where it's from. You don't know if the app comes from Turkey or China or Istanbul. You don't know where it comes from. Make sure you're tracking that accordingly. Make sure you know where that's through. But when you find a good one, and there are a number of good ones out there, tracking your receipts that way is extremely important, especially for insurance purposes. Concur, the majority of my stack purchase from an LCS with no receipts. You can always ask them for one. What's up, Sean? How you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, so tracking receipts is a really good way to do it. And if you generate a receipt, even if it's a handwritten receipt, take a screenshot of that and done. If you're at a coin shop, they keep receipts for their own sell. Just take a screenshot of that and you can utilize that to do it as well. So as long as you have something to do that, that's really, really good for insurance purposes. There's a ton of different strategies. Find a strategy that works for you and stick to it. That's the most important piece.
Mine is kind of old school, but then again, I'm kind of old school.
Kind of. Oh, hey. I didn't even have to take myself out. I heard something and I want to ask you a question.
What's that?
I'm going to ask this to chat. Why is it so hard to say rough twice?
That sounds like a dad joke.
Good boy. Get it? Rough, rough.
Yeah, I realized that after I said it to myself.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Thermomix side to Tiger Shark, a Tiger Stacker, but Tiger Shark works too.
You know why
Thank you.
I
I
have a hard
appreciate
time.
that, Mike.
You know why I have a hard time winning that race with the sharks? Because they don't have any tiger sharks in them. There's no stripes. Those racers, they have a thing against stripes, and I can't figure out why.
Well, well, most stackers have a thing against stripes. Most of them like spot.
That's horrible, God. And you came up with that at the spur of the moment.
I did come up with that at the spur of the moment, but that's how my mind works.
It works.
So sometimes, not today.
I know the feeling.
My brain is dead. It's numb today. But yeah. So again, we wanted to do this over 2 days because there's a couple things that it's really important to us. Number one, it's important that we understand where we're at. It's important. Um, it's important to understand what your goal is, what your strategy is. Why are you doing what you're doing? And Tiger and I have had different vantages. We've had different directions. We've had different paths. And even though we're on different paths, they've led us to almost the same spot, which is utilizing stacking and collecting as a wealth preservation tool, offsetting the strategy of spending money on something that's going to help protect you against inflation. And so it doesn't matter how you get there. The journey is important, but it's understanding that destination. Know that destination.
True. True. And the most important thing is that you just have to do it. It's like walking into a house and the house is a complete pigsty and you're overwhelmed, which is what a lot of us are, especially when we're newbies. You just have to start. Pick something and start. Do you start with the dishes? Do you start mopping the floor? Do you pick up the clothes that are all over the place? You have to start, because if you don't start and you just stay there and be overwhelmed, nothing gets done. So you just, especially for the newbies, just pick something and do it.
So you give a so Sean, I don't know if you guys know who this is, but if you want a really good book, and I mean a really good book, matter of fact, we're going to do a giveaway. So Tiger, I want you to pull names off
Okay.
of your channel. We're going to do it off your channel. So I
Okay.
want everybody who's on my channel right now, I'm going to throw the link to Tiger's channel. Hold on just a sec. Let me do this. This is the link to Tiger's. I want you to go click on that. If you're watching on your phone, it's going to be tough. So I'm going to go ahead and pin it. So go to the pinned message. But I want you over to Tiger's. Okay. And so what we're going to do is we're going to give something away. Sean said, know your why. And there's a book. It's Understanding Your Why, Finding Your Why. And this is something that was mandatory reading for me years ago. And it's by the name of Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek is a really good guy, motivational speaker, but he's a strategist. He understands why things happen and thinking about different ways in which to deal with situations. And the knowing your why is vital. Okay. So we're going to I'm going to pull a name. We're going to get that. You're going to message me. I'm going to get with you. I'm going to drop ship you from Amazon a Know Your Why by Simon Sinek. This is something that I firmly believe in. You need to know your why. But more than knowing your why is having a good foundation. Okay. You need to make sure you get your room in order. Jordan Peterson says this all the time. And that is, if you want to start getting your life in shape, clean your room. And so I'm going to send you the book, Know Your Why, but I want you guys to do me a favor. Proverbially, did I say that right? I want you to proverbially clean your room. So make sure that you're looking at what it is that you're doing. Set goals in 2026. And just not goals, just arbitrarily. I want to do this. How do you want to attain that? What are the barriers that I'm going to have to face? How am I going to overcome those barriers? We're going to talk a lot about that on Stack-A-Lector. We're going to talk about that on my channel. We're going to talk about that on Tigers, because understanding how you get to an endpoint is going to help you as a stacker. It's going to help you as a collector, and it's a good community practice. So, Tiger, if you'll do me a favor, if you will pull up your wheel,
Okay, let me
draw
get
your names.
this.
If you guys are not over, go ahead. Sorry.
I just I'm pulling up the participants right now.
B Woods, that's one big thing about my channel. You know this. I am absolutely doing everything I can to help point out a bunch of disinformation, get people to be thinking. Critical thinking skills are important, but help people to understand, what is it about an advertisement? What is it? Look at the details, look at the imagery, look at what they're saying, identify those things, because having a keen understanding, go back through and copy them and then repaste it.
Okay.
If you copy and then do a couple things, then you wipe it out.
Okay.
OC, yes, I did make 7K. It was the next night, but I appreciate, I got 102 subscribers from the stream with Surfer. So that was absolutely phenomenal. So, and I am going to give something away. I still have those names. I am going to give something away for that time frame, but yeah, clean your room, clean your room. It's amazing what that does. And believe it or not, I actually did this yesterday. I actually stopped, went in and picked up some stuff that I have been lazy. My desk is still a mess. Sorry. I'm a collector. I work. I have projects. My desk is always going to be a mess, but my area is cleaner. And so clean your room. You'll be amazed at how much that changes. Yeah, make your bed. That's another good book, Neil. It's amazing what that does for your psyche, what it does for your mind. It really does make a difference. But what we're drawing for here today is going to be the Simon Sinek book, Know Your Why, or Find Your Why. So again, if you're not over on Tigers, make sure you're clicking on the link that's pinned. Get over to Tigers. We'll give you just a couple more minutes. We'll have you draw.
Okay, that
Let's
means
do it
I got to re.
Yeah, we'll repull it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Everybody get over to Tigers, and then comment on Tigers, and then he can do the drawing over there.
Okay. Alrighty. So currently it is 7:54. So 7:56. I'll go ahead and get the names harvested again.
Yep. So keep plugging away. I have that one, so I'm going to stay here while I eat dinner. No problem, EMR. You don't have to go over there, but we're going to do it over there. Number one, if you're not subscribed to Tiger, please subscribe. Let's get him going. Our goal is to get him to 3K by February, March. He's on a pretty good track there. I know he's done an interview that's done pretty well, so we'll see if we can get that to go up higher. I'm going to be pushing him. We got other people that are going to do this, but All of you just need to remember, Tiger and I do this 100% out of love for community. So I want to see him grow. But more important than seeing my buddy's channel grow is that you guys get good, solid information. That's really what it's about for both of us.
Very true. So, I'm just tickled you got to 7.
949 just dropped 5 memberships.
No way. He did that before. Thank you, 949. Let's see who were the winners of the memberships. CT87, Math Discuss Bright. Let's see here. Niels Hunt, no. Chris G, Silver Buffs, and
SGT.
SGT. Congratulations.
All right. Well, let's pull those names. We've given them
Okay.
plenty of time. So let's go ahead and drop these names.
Yep.
Again, you're going to email frostbytecoins@gmail.com. Let me know that you won the find your why. Send me your information and whatever you want listed on the shipping label. And I will order this from Amazon and I will fire it over to you. One, as a thank you for doing what you do, for supporting us. And 2, it's just a good book. I think everybody should read it.
And I'm going to go ahead and let me see right here. I'm going to be giving
What's going
out.
on, Greg?
I'm going to give out a dime because we hit 25 likes. We're at 40 actually. So 10 more. I'll do another dime. So here we go. Let me go ahead and harvest the names. I already harvested them. I gotta get rid of the previous harvest.
What's going on, Designs? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for being here tonight. Actually, Tiger, you know what? I reached out to somebody and I was hoping that they would pop in. They make coin puzzles out of Morgan dollars. They design puzzle pieces and then they cut them out of Morgan dollars. They put them in a thing. You can either use it as a puzzle or just keep it in the holder. And I am going to try to get her on and talk about it. I've also reached out to ACEF and asked if Beth would like to come up on a Stack-A-Lector episode to talk about counterfeits and stuff like that. So we're really trying to get some fun people onto Stack-A-Lectors over the course of the next few months. So make sure you're sticking around.
All right. That sounds like a lot of fun. Let me go ahead and turn down the sound because Clark Kent will start complaining.
Indeed, it's loud.
Okay, here we go. This is for the book. How's that?
Perfect. Ooh, is it going to stop? Is it going to stop? Kinamine. Congratulations, Kinamine. Send me your information. Let me know. Do me a favor. I want you to add Greg Olson on there.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. You can do it anywhere.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yep. Just do at Greg Olson. We'll get you on there. The book, you had to be here before. You came in right as we were getting to run it. And add SkyQuest. Those are the 2 I just saw come in. I think we've got everybody else.
Okay, those are added in.
Nope, it is not. Neil, you're on there. I see your name.
Okay. And this is for the dime, or are you thinking something else?
Kinamine, the worst person to win that book. Do you want me to give it to somebody else? I'll wait for Kinamine to see what she says. Email me, let me know. We'll deal with it one-on-one. Okay.
Okay.
I'm a mess with order. Yeah. It's all good. Finding your why. It's not about cleaning your room. It's about finding your why. It's a great book, and if you like to read, it's a really, really quick book.
Okay. So this will be for the dime. Here we go. Mole
Oh,
Mike.
Mike, congrats. He said congrats, and he said congrats to himself.
How
Nice
about
job.
that? So Mole Mike, please send me a claiming email within 2 days. The sooner the better. Because technically in 2 days I'm going to be in the OR having surgery. So the sooner the better. And I'll be shipping you off that dime. So was there another one or did we cover everything?
I think we've pretty much covered everything. I don't really
Okay.
have anything really else to add.
What about that Renfield there?
That is a fun piece. If you want a great story, you can go watch the video on my channel about that.
It is. It really is a good story. I was just trying to pick on you.
I'm like a giant nostril,
You have a
easy to
big.
pick on. Never
Oh,
know what you're going to pull out of it.
okay then.
All right. Well, I don't have anything else. Yes, that is the Redfield Horde. You guys got that. That is a fabulous piece. Um, look for the thumbnail that has IRS in it, and you'll find an amazing story. It really is a great story.
It is. Thank you, Matt Wings. I appreciate that. So, do you have anything coming up, Frosty, before we go, so that everyone can know what they got going on?
There's a lot going on. I'm doing a study on these things. These are cleaning products on people who clean slabs. I'm doing a year-long study on this. I'm going to be updating the uh, channel on what's happening with this. We're just at the month mark. I was going to try and get that done today. Unfortunately, today just was not beneficial. So I'll get that done tonight or tomorrow and get that out probably Wednesday. On Saturday, we're going to be talking about the San Francisco Mint. I've got a really cool story. I don't know if you guys want a little taste of it. I can give you a little taste if you're interested. You guys want a little taste?
Is that a dad joke?
No, 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 no. It's a serious question.
Okay.
You guys give me a one if you want a quick little taste into the story that I'm going to give on Saturday morning. Then we'll do what we normally do. We'll talk about some fun facts about the San Francisco Mint. And then on Sunday, we'll go over some coins, and Jack Young is going to be presenting some items. A lot of people saying one. All right, let's go ahead and do this.
Now,
So
if
what
it's very unflavorful, I'll bring the ketchup. Usually,
I
we'll cover
promise
up
you,
everything.
I promise you, it's flavorful. So what I did is I was talking to Jack and Paula, and I was like, "Do we want to do this?" They're like, "Yes." I've got two more: Philadelphia, San Francisco, and I said, "Why don't I do it from the lens of the old 49er?" And so when you're listening to this today, we're going to be talking about the 49er. Yep, we're going to be talking about the Granite Lady too. The year was 48. The air in Charlotte, back in Carolina, felt heavy. But it wasn't just the humidity, it was all the whispers. Men I'd known my whole life, solid men who worked the gentle sloping mines of the Piedmont, were getting twitchy eyed. Now, if you don't know what twitchy eyed means, that is a sign of yellow fever, gold fever. They're talking about a strike out west in that territory that we just wrestled from Mexico. I was a little bit younger then, but my knuckles were already swollen from the swinging of the axe in the Carolina slate. I chased those veins all across that reed mine. I knew gold. See, I smell the smell of wet earth. I could smell that promise. But I knew it took backbreaking work, and I could find it in the lie of a dry creek bed. But when the rumors turned to shouts, I didn't wait for the fever to take hold in the entire town. I packed my kit, my rifle, my pans, my pack. I picked enough hardtack to choke a mule, and I headed to Sunset to make sure that we got out before the rest of the world woke up. See, they called them Argonauts. Now, the boys went out in 49, but I was ahead of the wave, part of the quiet trickle in 48, who knew the difference between that thing called fool's gold and that real yellow luster of a payday. That journey west, man, Lord, that's something you'll never forget. If the gold didn't kill you, the trail tried its damnedest to finish the job. We jumped off from a starting point at Independence, Missouri in a canvas of wagons bobbing across the prairie ocean. If you want to know more, folks, you're just going to have to show up on Saturday.
Good cliffhanger.
I liked this story. This was a fun one. I had a good time writing this one. I'm about 90% done. But this was fun. I got into this one.
Is you didn't finish.
Oh no, I'm gonna let everybody. They're gonna have to go check it out. So make sure you come check it out. If you guys know people that like to pan, that like the 49ers, please invite them along. Lots of people have enjoyed the story time, and so we're going to talk about Grumpy Grasshole. I actually had family. The reason independence was a big deal is because I had family in a place called Kinder, Missouri, not too far, about 40 miles from Independence. And it just was one of those things that just, it fit. And if you understand the history of the trail that Lewis and Clark, Independence was a big stop. So a little bit of tale on the history of our U.S., but it's fun. I love writing and I like doing this. So
I never knew that you were near Independence. That's very special to me. I went to medical school in the osteopathic school in Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay, yeah.
And my first Army unit was the 325th General Hospital in Independence, Missouri.
Yeah, I was about to say it's there in Independence. See, now, folks, let me ask you a question. Okay. How in the world, in such a large place, can you have little ironic things that happen like this? It's an amazing community. We're tied in more ways than you know. This is why it's so important that we talk. This is why it's so important that we have chats. Tiger and I are working something for our members on both channels to bring you guys into more conversation. So stay tuned to that as well.
Sounds good.
I'm done, man. I'm good. I've got it.
I will tell you that I have one video done. One video I hope to be done. And I'm going to try to release them as premieres because I like hanging out with all of you. But I'm going to release them even maybe not as a premiere. I have an awesome interview with a guy by the name of Jesse Day, who has his own YouTube channel called Commodity Culture. Very highly educated fella. And I'm going to be talking about very important silver to have for 2026. So those are the things I've got worked on for this week that I want to release, no matter if I'm healing, if I'm in pain, if I'm feeling good, hopefully I feel good and I can release them as premieres and hang out with you, but they're coming. Just to let you know, I've been working pretty hard at trying to get these done because doing content's not an easy job, especially with me being low tech. This guy, he can make a computer sing and whistle Dixie. Me, it just kind of like looks at me and says, "Really? You want me to whistle?" So
deep in the heart of Texas.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? So basically, I got content ready to go, so you all can have some really good education while I'm healing. So I just want you to know that's what's coming up. Okay. So that's all I've got. All righty. So I want to thank everyone for coming. I had a really good time. Uh, enjoyed story hour. So thanks, Frosty, for coming.
Absolutely. I think this was a great time and always a pleasure.
Thank you, Baba Wawa. I love that lady. My newest mod, and she deserved every bit of that blue wrench.
Outstanding.
Okay, so good night, everyone.
Take care, all.